bolstering the nation's military. That's a top priority for President Trump. The White House says that the president's first budget proposal will include a $54 billion increase in defense spending. Military stocks like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon rallied on the news. The move will likely garner plenty of public support. The latest Fox News poll shows that 45% of Americans believe the country is spending too little on military. Deegan is talking about this and looking at these proposals this morning. What are your thoughts on this budget, Deegan?
I think that it's a balancing act for President Trump that he promised to increase spending on defense. There's a 10% increase there, a little more than $400 billion, but not at the levels that, say, a Senator John McCain has been calling for. And we should also point out that his budget director, Mick Mulvaney, Senator McCain did not like him, doesn't really like him, because he has been a deficit hawk. And so I think that you're getting something for people who want greater military spending, greater defense spending, but also people who are worried about a $20 trillion debt.
Yeah, but you know what? When you take a look, when you speak to military people, John, they always say that we've got the oldest fleet in the Navy in decades. We've got the oldest, armament in the Army in decades. I mean, we need upgrade, particularly as it relates to technology.
Absolutely. And as Deegan just pointed out, there's always been this tension in the Republican Party between the deficit hawks and the military hawks. And we see it between Mulvaney and McCain. And I think that's something that the president is going to have to wrestle with over the next few months as he tries to take the ideas that he's going to be talking about tonight and turn them into actual policy. There's tension inside the Republican Party and within his plans between controlling all the debt, controlling the deficit, and achieving all of these goals that he wants to set out: tax reform, military spending, infrastructure spending, and most importantly, as you said earlier, there's going to be no talk tonight about doing anything on Social Security and Medicare.
No, they were very clear about that.
How do you make all of this fit together?
Which is trouble, which to somebody worried about the debt and the looming tsunami of, so Medicare is going to go broke. The hospital trust fund goes broke 11 years from now, and will only be able to pay out 87 cents on the dollar in benefits. 69% of our budget is mandatory spending on entitlements and interest on the debt. So more than 2/3 they have no control over. So when you start talking about cutting the EPA, you're really just chipping away at the end.
That's the important point. What he's going to be talking about tonight is cutting back on the discretionary programs, a lot coming out of the State Department, foreign aid, foreign diplomacy, America First. But you can't solve these problems in the long run just by cutting back.
Well, when was the last time you heard a politician come out and say, I promised you this, and now I'm taking it back? I mean, for those people who are receiving Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, they don't want those programs touched.
Well,
they're taking more than they were promised.
That's true.
They're taking more than they ever paid in.
You don't do it to people who are getting it now, but you tell people who are in their 30s and 40s, you might have to expect to work a little bit longer.
And most people understand that, right? I mean, they get that these programs are going broke.
They like to see reform because they think they're going to get nothing if the system goes bankrupt the way it is right now.
Younger people are not expecting.
They're not expecting. You talk to young people, they go, I'm not going to get anything.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's still a third rail because no one in this town can get anything done on this.
Right. Sure. Right.
And the president himself doesn't. He said he campaigned on this.
Even the most conservative people, when they get close to retirement age, they're like, I'm getting mine. I'm taking mine. I have arguments with my parents about this all the time.
Right.
And I tell them, they said, well, I paid, and I said, but you're taking more than you paid in. That's why it's going broke.
And Mark Zuckerberg doesn't need it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's some ways that we can cut back on certain incomes that people don't actually.
And, I mean, a business guy like a Ken Langone has been on this program and said, I don't want this Social Security check that I get. I don't need this.
Send it to him.
So I'm just saying there are certain pockets of the population that understand that this is not happening over the long term, and they're not expecting it. And yet the leadership is afraid. They're afraid to make that move because that will be the political ads. Well, they took your Social Security.
It's the granny off the cliff ad.
That's exactly
Can we roll that?
But it's also real. I was at a town hall yesterday where a woman was in tears saying, I depend on this, so please tell me you're not going to cut this. So it's very real.
But they have a very hard time getting across the message that we're not going to take away from you, but we want to give people 10, 20, 30 years to prepare to work a few extra months in their life.
You have to educate the public.
But anytime they try to raise that idea, it immediately gets translated into you're taking Social Security checks away from older people.
Exactly.